Hello, I am Tanok Esli Itoya, and I'm an Aztec Masaholtin, which is basically a middle-class person in our society. I also worked as a warrior if it was needed.
And I'm Hernan Cortes, a Spanish conquistador.
Today we will be discussing our lives and our conflicts throughout time. So my first question for you is, what did your upbringing look like?
I was born in Medellin, Spain in 1485 to a law nobility family. The conquistadors came from all over Europe. Some of us were German, Greek, and Flemish, but most of us came from Spain. When I was 14, I was sent to study in the University of Salamanca to study Latin and law. After 2 years of studies, I left the university and started sailing and exploring in 1504 to Santo Dominico. What about you? How did you grow up? Were you educated especially?
As children we were split depending on gender, and as we became older we got more chores to do, and we learned more about our place in society.
So how did your people first arrive in Mexico?
My people originally came from California, where California is today, and they headed south as homeless people, wandering until they found an eagle sitting on a cactus eating a snake. One of their shamans had told them to do this, and they did find this when they arrived in the Valley of Mexico. So why did you guys start exploring, and what was your goal?
In this time in India, the spices market had a very high demand, and we thought that if we would start sailing towards the west, we would arrive in India and would get to discover some of the spices.
Okay. When you first arrived, where did you think you were?
When we first arrived in America, we first landed in Yucatan, on the Yucatan coast in 1517. We were sure we had arrived to India, although we didn't know we were on a totally different continent. What did you think when you first arrived in your territory?
Our mythology said that Quetzalcoatl, who basically made mankind, would come to Earth as a man, and Cortez arrived on Quetzalcoatl's birthday, so therefore we believed it had to be him. Therefore we greeted him with gifts of gold and chocolate, although our leader was still a bit suspicious. So after you realized what we believed, why did you decide to attack us?
One of the reasons we decided to attack you is, of course, because of all of your resources, such as gold and silver. The second reason we decided to attack you is that we knew you had many enemies surrounded you that would help us attack you. What type of weapons did you use?
We used mostly clubs, spears, bows, and some shields. Our clubs and swords were studded with fragile but super sharp obsidian blades, and our spears were very short, used mostly for stabbing in close quarters. We also had some body armor made from quilted cotton, which we soaked in salt water to make the garment stiffer and more resistant to enemy blows. How did our contact benefit your life?
After our contact, we gained many resources such as gold and silver. We also made you work for us and forced you to live like us. The most important thing that benefits us was that we conquered new land that would belong to the Spanish Empire. By that we made our king very proud of us, and our chances of going to heaven increased. But our contact didn't just benefit us. After our contact, we got infected by many of your diseases, such as smallpox, influenza, and malaria.